In this video, you'll see how a specialized VR professional works with a consumer to assess the impact of their hearing loss and develop a plan of services to meet their unique needs. As a vocational rehabilitation professional, sometimes you will work with persons with hearing loss. Perhaps you're already a communications specialist and have received specialized training to assist individuals with hearing loss. Maybe you're hoping to improve your skills in working with consumers with hearing loss. This video focuses on a consumer with hearing loss who has applied for services because of problems in her job as a speech teacher. As a VR professional, one of your first steps is to make sure you're both communicating effectively. Questions could include, are you currently using hearing aids and/or any other technology to assist in communication? Do you read lips when communicating with others? What can I do to help you understand me? Do we need to change our seating arrangement or lighting for better communication? I do have an assistive listening device here. We can use it if you want to see if that helps our communication. It's important that the consumer and counselor understand each other before starting the application for vocational rehabilitation or VR services. Once you have established some comfortable communication ground rules, it's time to describe the vocational rehabilitation program and how it may help the consumer. VR helps persons with disabilities, such as hearing loss, to become employed or to keep their current job. VR is an eligibility program, which means we will investigate how work and daily living are affected by an individual's hearing loss. Eligibility for VR services is secured if those limitations are significant and affect one's ability to get or maintain employment.
I'm not sure, it may not be myths, it may be misconceptions, but I think rehab counselors have the misconception that if a person is deaf, then they are more severely disabled than a person who may be considered hard of hearing or late deafened with a less degree of hearing loss. And that's not necessarily the case. You know, a person who is deaf and uses sign language and is working and is comfortable in that situation may be fine, but a person who has a progressive hearing loss and doesn't know what to do about that hearing loss and has no idea about the resources and technology that can help them can be a lot more severely disabled. So you know, hearing loss on the continuum, more deaf is not necessarily more severely disabled. I'll give you an example, like a lot of the people that are hard of hearing and late deafened may be employed now, but their hearing loss is causing problems on their job that they're about to lose their job or they don't know what to do. For example, an attorney came to us that was working in the courtroom and was losing her hearing and couldn't perform any of the essential functions of her job. So in essence, she really had some severe disabilities, and without VR services to direct her to the appropriate technology, to the appropriate coping skills, to the appropriate resources, she very well could have lost her job and then not know where to go in order to become employed.
To determine eligibility, VR counselors need to find out as much as possible about the hearing loss and how it affects all areas of daily functioning, but especially on the job. In this case, the counselor asked when she first noticed some hearing loss. What are her job duties as a speech teacher? And how does she communicate with her students? Does she have problems understanding them? Is it stressful when they have problems communicating? What equipment and technology does she use on the job, like telephones, public address systems, pagers, and tape recorders?
Probably 5 or 6 years where I've known I've needed to do something. I just haven't been able to go all the way through with it yet. In my current position now, teaching speech, it's a little bit more of an issue because I have to pretty clearly understand all of my students' words. Loud places are really difficult for me to differentiate between people's voices and the other noises that I hear, and try to filter out what I'm hearing so that I can focus on what people are saying. I don't think I realized how much energy I was expending trying to understand what people were saying, and that may not be completely necessary for me to expend that much energy all the time. Another thing that I do as part of my job is I'm the yearbook sponsor, and one thing that I have to do is deal with the public on a business level. I sell ads and I take ad requests, and so I have to talk to people on the phone a lot as part of that position.
To gain more understanding, the counselor may ask, what are some other situations where hearing is difficult? Other questions might include, have you or others noticed problems communicating at home, in the car, on the telephone, in small groups or large groups? Are you able to participate in activities like church, movies, and other social events? Have your family members, co-workers, students, or others mentioned your hearing loss?
I think my family notices my hearing loss a lot more than I do. My mom and my husband have really encouraged me to keep pursuing it. From my perspective, in a lot of ways, I thought, well, I've adapted to it pretty well this far. I don't know that there's a reason to keep pursuing it, but my husband and my mom have really encouraged me to do it, to follow through with it. I was having trouble hearing my children at home sometimes, especially in the car when we were driving on trips and they would talk to me from the back seat. I couldn't hear what they were saying.
At first, it may be hard to identify the specific problems caused by someone's hearing loss. To help pinpoint some of these issues, a take-home questionnaire can help the consumer think more clearly about this. Suggest spending some time talking to family, friends, and others about what they have noticed concerning the consumer's hearing loss, and include that information on the questionnaire. Next, you will need to obtain a comprehensive audiological evaluation and possibly other medical reports to clarify the specific type and degree of hearing loss, and to identify any recommended treatments and hearing assistive devices, such as hearing aids, listening devices, and alerting devices. Within 60 days, a review of all the information will determine eligibility for vocational rehabilitation. In this case, VR services are deemed necessary. The information gathered will be used to develop the Individualized Plan of Employment, or IPE. The IPE will list specific services needed for this consumer to successfully maintain her employment as a speech teacher. The next step is to discuss how and where to get needed services that are in the IPE. Some other evaluations, such as an eye exam, can also be important because we use our vision for speech reading and to be alerted to cues in the environment. In this case, there appears to be difficulty with communicating in a variety of situations, such as one-to-one conversations, small groups, and larger groups like the classroom. Furthermore, there are problems communicating through telephones, understanding public address systems, and relying on students for potentially valuable information. In her questionnaire, she also indicated difficulty listening to televisions, computers, and music. Finally, she also stated that she often depends on family members to be aware of signals such as doorbells, fire alarms, and alarm clocks. So the audiologist recommends hearing aids plus an FM system to use with the hearing aids in some situations. These devices overcome communication and alerting barriers in the classroom. A telephone amplifier can be used with the hearing aids to improve telephone conversations at work and home. Other devices can help raise awareness of environmental alerts like the doorbell, telephone, and alarm clock. Even though individuals may become more comfortable discussing hearing loss and communication problems, it can still be difficult participating in social activities and enjoying various social settings. You, the specialist, can offer additional information, ideas, and support to develop communication strategies and coping techniques. Success requires a schedule of sessions to evaluate progress in using hearing aids and other devices in the workplace and at home. These sessions can explore any problems that occur and lead to discussions of strategies to deal with these issues. Other support services, such as hearing loss groups or local oral rehabilitation programs, can also help consumers learn more about how to deal with the effects of hearing loss.
A microphone for my students in my speech class, my students can speak into a microphone that I can pick up over a hearing aid that will really help make sure I don't miss anything in my students' speeches and make sure that I'm doing my job correctly when I evaluate their speeches. So that was a big relief. That was something I didn't even know was available that could be really helpful for my job, my particular job. Being able to use my phone amplifier with my hearing aid system has really improved my business communications with public and advertisers, and I feel like I'm better able to communicate with them. The most important piece of technology as it relates to my work is the FM system. I've been able to use that in my speech classroom. My speech students speak into the microphone, and then I am able to pick that up in my receiver so that I can clearly analyze their speeches and help them improve their speeches.
Once the services in the IPE have been completed and the consumer has been successfully working for 90 days, a case will be closed. However, consumers may need post-employment services after their case is closed if new problems arise as a result of hearing loss.
Once I actually was able to have a successful vocational rehab appointment, I was really able to benefit from working with a counselor. She was able to make me aware of some things that I didn't know existed. She was able to point out some things that might be helpful to me in my particular job. And I found that that was a really big benefit for me. I obviously wouldn't have known of some of the technology that was available for me as a speech teacher, and she was able to identify some things, help me obtain some things, and put them into place in my classroom. So I'm really thankful for that.